Hi, I'm Kelly Connors, and I'm a life work coach for women leaders, change agents, and entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited you're here with me today as I launch Take Time to Thrive, a collab for women. Take Time to Thrive is all about giving women voice and visibility for those pursuits that they're so passionate about, whether it be their business, something in their life, or it could be something that they're just starting to explore as they make a transition in their life's work. And what's so wonderful about this approach is that I'm bringing in the pathway that women take to make these kinds of changes in their life, to make the kind of change that brings more joy and fulfillment to their life's work. And in my first conversation here today, you'll hear from Debra Pratt Johnson-Burns. She is the founder of a company that she's just launching here on Take Time to Thrive. And her company is called Literacy to Legacy Mentors, Reframing Your Financial Future. What I love most about the conversation that I'm having with Debra is that it's all around money, which is a topic that's really difficult for women to talk about and so vital for our personal growth and development and for our future. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Joining us. Just to let you know, this is an area of expertise that I've been involved in for 30 years. I have been mentoring and helping people in business as well as individual to really master their money, so to speak. And the way in which I do that is really getting inside their family DNA and finding out more about how did they grow up? What were the things and topics that were talked about that were positive and very empowering? And what were the topics that were not talked about that may be something I can help you with? So I actually found most of the time that the topics of money, prosperity, abundance were peripheral. They were not conversations that people had with their parents or their siblings, unless in fact they were, hey, how much money did you make there today? Or what kind of job did you get? Those kind of competitive conversations. But for me, as Kelly alluded to, and thank you so much for inviting me today, are really all about not only financial empowerment, but really what turns you on? What lights you up? What makes you happy? That is financial, emotional, spiritual abundance, not just the price tag and the number. So that's what I have found, that people need spiritual empowerment. They need to understand why they are blocked, why they have issues with either being on time, paying things on time, making more money, being excited about becoming a vice president of a company or owning their own company for that matter. I help them build their confidence around money. I help them to believe that they are worthy, that they are amazing, and for that matter, that they can in fact give themselves permission to thrive. And that's really what I want to talk about today.
Excellent. I really appreciate your holistic approach to financial empowerment, because I think, when we talk about thriving as a way of being, you have to recognize, or we recognize, that we are all different and we all have a way of being and we're on a journey. And so financial empowerment for one person may land differently than it does on another person, simply because we have different life stories and we're in a different phase of the journey itself. So to that end, Deborah, I'd love to have you just give us a few minutes of your time around your own story and what led to the development and your passion for financial empowerment, especially for women.
Sure, thank you. So as we had gone through the pandemic, many people were struggling with not only having enough money, but really, what am I doing with my career? Where am I going in my life? I mean, I think it was a contemplative time for many of us. And I had found that many people were coming to me as colleagues, friends, family. Deb, I'm in transition. I don't really know exactly what to do. Could you help me reframe my life in addition to my money? So it's really all about reframing and looking at the world and your life with a new perspective. And for me, I was talking to one of my colleagues in finance. I have many of them, and he's an investment counsel to me. And he said, give me the 30-second foot view, 30-second, elevator speech of what are you trying to create here? And it just came out of my mouth. It was amazing. Like, literacy to legacy. I want to help people with their financial literacy, and they can build a legacy from it. And it just came out. And he said, well, if you don't trademark that, I will. So I want to thank him for that. And what happened was that last November of 19, this was birthed, if you will. And then from that period all the way until April 28th, during Financial Literacy Month, I launched the company formally. And then since then, I've developed packages for mentoring and classes and events to help people really look at finance in an entirely new way, and to look at their lives in an entirely new way. And I know that I can help an enormous amount of people. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a calling. This is something I feel like I have a obligation and a passion to fulfill.
So Deborah, you call yourself the Chief Prosperity Officer. And it's kind of interesting because when you think about financial planning or financial management, you don't often see the word prosper in somebody's title. So can you tell us a little bit about what does prosperity mean?
Absolutely. For me, prosperity is a state of mind. And how I look at it and how I help my clients look at it is, as I said before, what makes you happy? What turns you on? What makes you really get psyched about what you're doing in your life? Are you surrounding yourself with positive things, positive people, good food, fresh air? Are you really taking time to invest in yourself? As Warren Buffett said, the best investment you can make is in yourself. So I work with people to help them find that kernel of excitement and passion, and to bring that into their world and in their financial life, which to me is prosperity, because they're looking at their lives and the way in which they interface with money in an entirely new way. For instance, are they paying themselves first when they get paid? Are they putting self-care at the top of their list when they're, organizing their priorities? Are they planning getaways for themselves to learn new things and to do new adventures? Honest to God, the answer has not been yes for many of these people. They have not given themselves permission to thrive. So I'm helping to catalyze that opportunity and help them to prosper in a very slow, methodical, but very, very important way. I really help them to learn how to fish versus giving them the fish, as they say. I'm a mentor, I'm not a coach. Thank you.
So that's a really different way when you talk about mentoring, not a coach, and you have the skills of a financial planner. But what is it about the tools that you have that you find actually help women make a shift into a more empowering approach to managing their money?
Yes. So I have employed a system for a very, very long time. It's a guaranteed system. It's proprietary, that basically takes all of your financial life into one document. It's called a spending plan, but I really call it an ideal spending plan. And these are not programs that I created necessarily. I've branded my own. These are programs that have been used in the United States, in the world, by many people. And I have just taken and put my own little spin on it. Financial plans are very methodical, very specific. I look at it much more as a macro opportunity. I look at different facets of their lives. We look at this plan and put in lots of things, as I just alluded to, that they may never have ever put in before. So I create ideal spending plans with people, and we track them as accountability partners every week, every 2 weeks, every month. And what's brilliant is that people are really experiencing prosperity for the first time in their lives. They're like, I never looked at it like this before. This is so exciting. Like, can you get excited about finance? Yes, you can.
Yeah, I mean, this is really why I thought it was so interesting and important to bring you on to Take Time to Thrive, because so much of what we think about money is actually it's emotionally connected to triggers that we have, as you mentioned early on, from earlier in life or from our DNA and our family. For example, in my family, the men were always the one that had access to additional, I'll call it capital or expenses that my parents may have had. So when you think about it like that, and I was always waiting for my turn, which the turn may or may not have come across, when I needed it. It was really I'll say in those days, to date myself, but I think things are changing for women, and I'm glad they are, that we've never had more CEOs than we have right now in companies. And a lot of that is due to financial acumen that women now have. But let's just say that there's a whole cadre of women like me who aren't used to exactly being empowered by money. I've earned my own money by my career. I've worked steadily over 3 decades. And I'm interested in not just saving money, because I actually view saving as somewhat of a scarcity mindset. When I think about scarcity, it's really triggered by, well, you have to keep saving because you'll never know. It's just kind of like there's some looming thing that could happen. And so, you know what? You can save and save and save for that looming dark cloud. And how are you going to live your life meanwhile?
Exactly.
So I'd love for you to speak to that right there. I mean, that's kind of like a daily ritual regimen, a daily habit that I could bring into my life that would help me switch from saving for that. It's, I guess, a sort of a negative mindset I have around what could happen or what if. And I have saved for retirement someday, but you can always move that out further too. So that's why I think the idea of prosperity is so interesting, because to connect prosperity with thriving and financial health is, I think, a novel approach.
Well, thank you so much. The good news, you're right, is that more and more women are making more money and in more opportunities for growth than they ever have been. And yes, there are, and I respect and I work with traditional money managers, investment managers, financial planners, etc. And absolutely, it is a team approach. There is no one perfect way to do this. However, I do employ things that others may not. And that is, I come at money from a spiritual and emotional perspective. And I try to help women understand that this is their God-given right. They have every opportunity and every chance to thrive if they choose to. And it is a choice. And it is permission that they give themselves. And I give examples to many people as I work with them of, just for instance, I decided to take a course last week and I booked it about 3 months ago. And it was so incredibly enriching to me. And I felt like $1 million. And I loved being with all these other powerhouse women. And, that's an example of, yes, I saved for it. Yes, I booked it. And yes, I had a wonderful time doing it. But the good news is, I really help my clients to plan for things like that. Make yourself a priority. And saving, you're right, can be in a scarcity mode, depression mentality, whatever you call it. And the saving is fabulous. I'm also an investor for 40 years. I invest, and I have worked with many investment managers. I also manage my own and our families. But the point is that, what's the priority here? Is the priority the future, or is the priority now? Like, let's enjoy our lives now. And I think too many people are just so focused on retirement and I need to do this and I need to do that, that they're sort of missing the boat. They're missing their lives. Take time to smell the roses, honey. I mean, I'm serious about that. And I help people to maybe even take it down a notch. Let's look at the bigger picture here. What matters to you? What do you want to do with your life? And I think that's where I really bring a totally new perspective to things, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I can sense the passion in your voice and in your knowing your background too. Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to become maybe an investor. You mentioned that
Sure.
you actually do your own investing, and I find that interesting as well. It's not something that I think a lot of us would think about, investing our own money. But anyways, tell us a little bit about your background and how this
Absolutely.
investment
Happy to.
mentality.
I had the good fortune to have a mom who was very business centric. And as my very best friend next door told me recently, do you realize that your mother brought us into her office and talked about stocks? I said, oh, yeah, she did that all the time. She goes, Deb, we were 7. So that just gives you an idea of the kind of environment I grew up in. And my mother, I think her famous phrase I still hear today, God bless her, she's passed unfortunately, but is save your money. Okay, so she had a little bit of that mentality, nothing wrong with it, but she also is and was a very savvy investor. And she taught me a lot about it early on. So when I was expecting the shiny new car and the fancy, fabulous new vacation when I graduated from high school, my mother handed me an envelope. And I'm like, okay, this is not that exciting. What's going on here? And it was stocks, a stock certificate for Citicorp. And she said, this is your ticket to the future. Learn everything you possibly can about this. That was my gift. And my God, it had legacy implications. So that was a pretty brilliant thing to do.
Definitely. How old were you at that point?
18.
Right.
And then I had the good fortune in 1996, when I was in the agency world, I'm a brand and business strategist as well. And my colleague and I won the US Trust business. And I learned an enormous amount about wealth management from the preeminent wealth management firm in the world. So that also was a catalyst, got me learning more. And then I have friends in the industry. I have investment banker friends. I have friends who are wealth managers. And one of them, as I said to you before, said, Deb, give me a sense of what you feel you could offer. And then I said, literacy legacy mentors. I didn't say reframing your financial future at the time, but I'm a brand strategist. So that stuff sort of thankfully organically comes to me. And it was born, it was there. And, you know, all of my friends in the industry were like, yes, finally, she needs to do this. And I was so excited about their passion for my expertise. How fabulous is that? So that's it basically in a nutshell. And yes, I'm very passionate about it. I've been investing for our family for 40 years. I do it myself with my husband and with my, you know, my occasional investment colleagues, but I prefer because I don't want to be the person at 3 a.m. that people call that says I'm losing all my money at the stock market. I want to be responsible and be a captain of my own ship. I want to be responsible for the highs and responsible for the lows, and preferably more highs than lows. So that's what I really feel strongly about. I'm accountable and responsible to myself and my family.
Right, right. Deb, you had mentioned that you know, a lot of this interest that you have in financial empowerment actually has been sort of lying dormant, so to speak, while you built your brand communications company, your brand strategy company. And I think what's really important for women to know is that sometimes these gifts and passions that we have while we build our careers over a couple, 3 decades,
Sure.
actually can form a seed for how we want to make a transition when we're maybe, you know, 50 or over, when we are thinking about, oh, I do see the horizon for retirement, but, you know, I really do want to keep working. A lot of us just love our careers and love to work. And the idea of not working actually kind of puts us in a little bit of a tailspin. Not only that, but it's really empowering when you do have the skills and capacity to empower other people, that you actually use that. So I just want to see if you could inspire women here with some of your insights around making that shift from corporate or from one consulting business that you've done for a while into a new area, and how you make that transition.
Right. So I am continuing to be a brand and business strategist. I build companies and reposition companies to become more profitable. And I'm really parlaying and leveraging that experience in my new company. I am 60. I am proud of it. And I'm in a whole new track here. This is my 5th iteration, my 5th change in careers. I started as a journalist, then I was in corporate, then in PR, and then I own my own company, and now I have another company in financial wellness and empowerment. And I really feel that this is something that is coming from me, as this is sort of a life purpose. This gives me a purpose. It gives me an opportunity for philanthropy, which I adore. It gives me an opportunity to really help people in a meaningful, tangible, and credible way. And I really feel like I can help so many people. And the good news is I have met so many wonderful people over the many years that I've worked, that I created an incredibly rock solid crackerjack team of strategic partners, of attorneys, of college financial aid coaches, of tax attorneys, accountants. All those people are on my team. And they also are at the ready to help my clients with me. It takes a team, it takes a village. I'm not the only one here. And I really believe that with a team approach, we can help people in every area of their lives financially, from 25 to 75. I have 3 separate buckets that I work with in terms of tailored markets and tailored offerings. And this is a purpose. It's my purpose. I feel like it's a calling. I really truly do, and I felt that for a very long time. And I'm totally psyched about it. I love it. I do.
So you're merging, actually, you're taking what you've done before. Obviously, you cannot undo all the
Right.
expertise and skills. We're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater as you make this transition, but you're bringing
Right.
along your brand communication skills, and you're adding to them the passion and expertise you have in the area of financial empowerment. And
Right.
when we talk about empowerment, as Deborah has kind of detailed out here, it is a little bit different than just, and I don't mean to put this down on everybody, because I've worked with financial planners my whole working life. I've worked with certified financial planners, and they've helped me, obviously save money, grow my money, do all sorts of things like that, feel like I have a level of security in my life. And I just want to point out that what Deborah is talking about actually requires Deborah to bring her own life story, so to speak, and her own
Mhm.
passions in the area of her own values, what she really
Right.
values forward. And so this gives a little bit more of a personalized, or a lot more of a personalized approach to helping women, especially at crossroads of their life, kind of get through the crossroads. There's doubt, there's uncertainty, and not to say that there's not that in other people's lives, but I'm focused really on women leaders and helping them reignite their life's work and get on track for achieving, let's use the word achieving, but experiencing a level of well-being that is not just surviving, but thriving. And I
Absolutely.
just wanted to point that out, Deborah, that's where I think, as we kind of move forward in this post-COVID world, and post-COVID is just a term I'm using because it's time-stamped, but as we evolve and grow in our businesses and careers, financial empowerment could actually be the engine for your well-being, because you could be, many of us are, triggered by the idea of scarcity and lack of
Mhm.
money, and will I outlive my money? And I think it's important that we actually do live in the moment, but actually also be able to be accountable and responsible financially. So I guess that's kind of the balance between living in the moment, enjoying life, really focusing on increasing our capacity for joy in life. At the same
Mhm.
time, dealing with the difficult to discuss or highly triggering. And it's just practical. Money is a source of energy. You and I have talked about this a
Yes.
lot, that money is a source. Money is energy.
Mhm. I think the good news, that Kelly, is you're absolutely right. Post-COVID, or whatever we're in at this time in the world, people are scared. Period. And I really am trying to help them demystify finance, get more comfortable around it, really understand the meaning of abundance. And it doesn't have to be the balance in your bank account. Okay. Are, as examples, for instance, are you buying yourself fresh flowers every week? I am. Are you taking those little mini vacations for rest and rejuvenation and learning? Are you surrounding yourself with positive people? Honestly, and I shared this with Kelly the other day, I'm a big believer in spiritual foundations, and I pick these every day. These are angel cards. And I'll never forget, I was working with a CEO, and these are serious people. And I pulled out the angel cards during a brand strategy intensive with him. To this day, he said to me, that was one of the most empowering and encouraging and just rich experiences that I've never had before, because it didn't feel like anything I've never done before. So my point is that I'm trying to help people look at different ways in which to thrive, and the money will follow. That's the good news. It always does.
Well, with that, Deborah, our time is coming to a close here for our 30-minute conversation. But actually, what I probably should leave a little more time for here is questions from anybody, or comments, or if you'd like to throw in anything on the chat and you didn't want to voice it, that's fine. You could use the chat if you have any questions or anything for Deborah or for I. And as you think about that, just know that everyone that's on this call here you've gotten here because you've gotten a link. So I've got your email. This is simply an opportunity for you to stay connected for as long as you'd like to Take Time to Thrive collab. And you will get the replay of today's session with Deborah Pratt Johnson-Burns, and some links to help you connect with her in various ways as she shares her expertise and insights, and a complimentary call. So you will get that link as well after this call. We'll follow up in the next day so that you do have that capability of staying connected and working on your financial goals. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Deborah, for your insights and wisdom. It's much appreciated. And
as it is great from you.
I look forward to staying connected to everybody here as well. Take care, and I'm wishing you all a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for listening to Take Time to Thrive, Collab for Women. To book your complimentary call with Deborah, go to her website at literacy2legacymentors.net. To join me, Kelly Connors, in my next free mini retreat for women, go to my website at kellyconnors.com. Thank you so much for listening to Take Time to Thrive, Collab for Women.